Well, delighted to say we've been joined by Joe Dunne, who is our new youth team manager. Joe, welcome home, I should say. You've been here, I think, just over a week now.
Yeah,
what's it been like coming back to Priestfield?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. Funnily enough, only about a week before I was down having a dinner and clapping the fans and so on, and then obviously an opportunity came up in the meantime, and yeah, it's been really interesting because obviously it's such a different place to when I played here, but there are so many things that haven't changed as well. Certainly the surroundings and getting used to in and around Gillingham again, it's been bringing back a lot of good memories.
As you look over your left shoulder to the pitch, what kind of particular memories stand out for you during your time here as a player?
I suppose for me, obviously making my debut here was huge, you know, and not really knowing about it until the day you're only 17 years old. You're still technically a youth team player, and obviously getting my debut then and playing with some of the great players that I played with here. But I think most people probably say when I went in goal here at the town end against Blackpool, which was
we've got a great picture of you.
Yeah, it's the one that's used really. It's not me playing outfield, it's the one with me in goal.
We've got to find a different picture.
Yeah, and I had long flowing hair then. But yeah, probably that, and that, you know, a real engrossing day with obviously the whole game itself. It was like the sendings off. It was just one of those games. But the one that really stands out was the Halifax game.
Of course.
You know, we were in such a position where we could possibly go out of the league and then probably would have folded as a club, close to administration and so on. And we obviously went through that process. But that day was amazing, and the relief after that game, having seen so many people here, and the transformation in the many years after that, which happened, and then which obviously culminated in promotion in '96, of which I was a bit part player then. But yeah, those three games: my debut, the Blackpool game in goal, and the Halifax game.
Yeah, that the Halifax game, as every fan calls it every time it's referred to. How did the squad on the day realise just how big a result would be on that day, not just in terms of the league table, but in terms of a consequence for the football club? Yeah,
I think we understood. I mean, there was 7 of us living in the house around the corner in Linden Road, and you know, and we all stayed down that week because we kind of knew, you could feel it. We were a lot of young players. I mean, that Glenn Rhoda was the manager, and Glenn really put his trust in the youth, and there was so many come through. And I think there was a few playing that day. I'd been out injured for a long period, and he just pulled me in the office as the week progressed and said, look, you're going to play tomorrow. And it was really weird because I didn't have a proper pair of football boots. I was not expected to play, you know, and he just said, you're going to play, and I had to borrow one of the lads' boots, and we played on the day. We understood the enormity of it, and I think just warming up, the ground was nearly full already, and we weren't really used to that here. But on the day itself, the relief was immense, and it was great to play and great experience, and I'm just glad, along with a lot of good people that were here, played a big part in helping us to A, not go out of the league, B, not go out of business, and I think a lot of people have to understand that was a really young group back then, and we played under a lot of pressure and succeeded.
I'm sure you'll take the same scoreline on Tuesday night when we play Swindon here in the FA Youth Cup. A tough game, a big game. I'm sure the lads are buzzing for it. How are you feeling about it personally?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I've been involved when I started out at Colchester. When I stopped playing, I was youth team, working in the youth team, and then I ended up being head of youth for a few years. And I've got experience of working in the youth cup, so I understand how important it is to the players. It's the mecca, if you like, because they want to end up 3rd, 4th, 5th round, hopefully, to be able to play against a top Cat 1 team, maybe at a different stadium that they all dream about playing, because they know that's a good opportunity. So we're all looking forward to it. I managed to see the game here against Charlton, which was great, the atmosphere and so on. It means so much to everybody, especially within the youth department. But the key thing is for me is that's important, of course, but my eye is fundamentally on making sure that my experience allows the young players to take the next step, and that I see that as part of the process, irrespective of what happens. The key thing is my job is to hopefully move players to the gaffer and the group and allow them to stay there for many years.
Would it be a proud moment for you personally, taking charge of a team here at Priestfield, a place you've played, I think, over 130 games?
I don't know how many I played. I mean, they fluctuate sometimes. But obviously, I've come back here as a rival manager. I've managed here a couple of times with Colchester. Yeah. I've been here with a couple of with Newport as assistant manager. It's the work they've done here is fabulous. The rain amend has always been special. Coming here on Tuesday to actually be in a Gillingham uniform, looking after a team is amazing, really, because it's like it's full circle, really. It's where I started, and I'm sure when I message all the youth team from back then in '89 through to '91, when I made my debut, that they won't quite believe it. Like it's just one. Guess what? So really looking forward to it. Great to be back where I started. I came over here like when I was young, 15, and I was a boy really, but I know when I left here at 22 I was certainly a man, and I'm forever grateful for all the people I've met throughout. Without that grounding here, it would have been very difficult, I suppose. So it's nice to give a bit back.
You've referenced it already, but what kind of made you, what was appealing about the role? What made you think, yeah, that's my next job, that's where I'm going?
Yeah, when I left roles before, i.e. Colchester and Cambridge, at a senior level, I was asked to go back into youth structure, and I just didn't want that. I wanted the 3 points, the pressure. I wanted to be back in the environment. I really enjoyed the first team element side of things. As I've gained my experience over the years and moved around the country a bit, I've always been passionate about young players in terms of their development and how they work. I think I can back that up with the work I did at Colchester along with some good people there, given the amount of debuts that I've given as a manager, and working with the players that we would watch youth teams, the clubs I've been at, and say this guy needs to come across and train with the first team to give them an opportunity. And I think we've always been good at that. And since I've been out of work, obviously through the summer when we left Newport, I thought it's come about, this is an opportunity. So it's kind of like with all these years now of experience that I've got and my passion for young players, I believe that I need to exercise my thought process. For example, the detail, I want to see more detail in how we coach the young players, and this was the moment, and I was kind of like, do you know what, I am actually interested now, because I do want to help them. I do want to give a bit back. I do want to try and change how maybe they understand the difference between training at youth level and then the levels when you go to the first team. So now I've been able to see that when players come across, it might be too quick. The skill level is so high, and I wanted to try and go back and be able to say, well, I don't want to be. You take a player across as a senior level and you go, well, probably a bit too much for him today, probably needs a bit more time. And I've always felt that maybe we can fix that. So that's my goal. My goal is to try and get as many to the gaffer as possible, as I'm sure it was Mark's when he was here, and every youth manager that works. But I just want to do it slightly different. Using the years of experience I've got working on the first team level and understanding the demands that are on those players that train with the gaffer and the group, and make sure that they're ready for that.
And just finally, you've got a really good team upstairs. You've got Brian Ball, who's in charge of the academy. You've got Eben up there, Nick, Asif, Matt Funnels up there. So it's a really good team. So how enthused are you for what could be achieved?
Yeah, really, they've been so welcoming. Obviously I've known Brian through bits and pieces throughout the years with the academy, and the other guys I'm getting used to how they work. Want to challenge them as well with the experience that I've got. I hope it can help them, especially with the younger coaches within the group. Somebody there that can say, well, look, try this different, or what was it like when you did this as the first team. So I've got a few years behind me and a bit of knowledge. But they've been exceptional. I didn't think there was going to be as many, which is incredible, really, and it just shows you the kind of work that's gone in here and how serious we're taking it, because I think one of our own is a great chorus you want to hear from the Rainament.
Absolutely.
And that is a big goal of mine. When you get that, he's one of our own, it's a real plus point for everybody and the people behind the scenes as well. I mean, I fronted up as the youth team manager and I coach and so on, but there's so much more goes into it. So hopefully we can be successful, and success for me will be measured by the amount of players we can help progress, not just as a footballer but as a human, and that's vital for me, and that's the most important part to me, is to make them as good as we possibly can, but also making sure that they understand it's sometimes football and living your life as well is you got to combine the two, and I just want to make them better individuals all round and try and make them as successful as I possibly can.
Lovely, Joe, thanks very much. I think I speak on behalf of every Gillingham fan when I say welcome home.
Thank you, thanks a lot.